More than a fifth of serial killers operate in teams, usually involving two people who are romantically involved, often referred to as killer couples. You ever wonder how these couples come about in the first place? What's the psychology behind the deadly duo? Here's what we know. One partner in the dynamic is commonly the dominant figure, usually male, psychopathic and sadistic, and purposefully seeks out younger, more insecure, psychologically unstable people who they can gain and maintain psychological control over. Former FBI agent and behavioral criminologist Greg McCrary points out that these predators often have an acute ability to identify co-conspirators. He says there's radar, there's gaydar, and perhaps murdar. So the predators have this murdar to hone in on potential partners. They wait like sharks to see who's a green light and who will take the bait. They may start out by casually saying something like, "What would you say if I were a rapist?" If the potential partner reacts badly, the predator shrugs it off like a bad joke and then moves on to the next person until he gets the green light. Typically what the dominant partner is after is complete control, psychological and often physical in the case of sexual sadists, which most of them are. In order to gain this control, the objective of the predator is to make the relationship have a greater emotional significance to the accomplice than any personal moral code, which would have prevented the accomplice from carrying out the deed. How does he do this? According to a 2002 study in the Journal of Forensic Science, there's a series of steps. The compliant accomplice is usually a middle-class woman who comes from a family background that involves sexual or physical abuse. Most accomplices have dependent personality disorders and low self-esteem. Step 1. Predator identifies a vulnerable person. Step 2. They love bomb them, seducing them with gifts and praise while simultaneously gathering information for leverage. Sometimes the affection and kindness will be layered with cruelty and punishment, tearing down any self-preserving boundaries. Next, they will introduce a sex act outside of the woman's experience and continue to add more extreme versions as compliance continues to be obtained. Step 4, they increase their partner's dependence on them and isolate them from relationships, becoming their only lifeline. Step 5, already fragile, the accomplice comes to fully rely on their partner for their self-worth, their life direction, their everything. Accomplices' motivations to participate in murder tend to range from love or obsession to downright fear for their own life. And ultimately, it's a trade-off. They agree to participate in something that repulses them, like torture and murder. In return, they feel they gain something they need from the dominant partner, such as love, affection, security, and sometimes social status. But sometimes the psychology of the couple is not so clear-cut, and one of the most complex and twisted examples of this murderous duo is the infamous Canadian couple Paul Bernardo and Karla Homolka. Check out part 2.